Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Love Talk. Now today we're doing two things. We are going to be talking about long distance relationships, and we have someone here on the studio today, Bentley, who'll be speaking about his own experience of a long distance relationship. The other part of the show, I'll let you talk about it.
Well, we are going to go behind the scenes, is it, of the Love School that just happened at the Wembley Arena. I was fortunate and everything else to be there. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing. So much energy, so much going on, so much, I don't know, I don't even have words.
So 11,000 people under one roof learning about loving the intelligent way, not the emotional way, the intelligent way. Actually, we've prepared a treat for you. We have some footage of how the event was, and we're going to come right back to talk about it.
People are familiar with the concept, you gotta love somebody, you feel love, you fall in love with someone. Yes, but people are not learning that there are certain rules that if you don't follow in love, you will kill that love.
Well, all of us are gonna go back and, better our lives with all the things that we're gonna learn.
That's what it's about, communicating, making friends.
It definitely has improved my relationship, and I just can't wait now to just keep learning more.
I'm really, really grateful. I'm so happy I got the opportunity to do this.
It's been great. It's been amazing. Ain't that right, guys?
Yeah! BYG of school!
It was great. I really enjoyed it.
It's beneficial to everyone.
Amazing atmosphere here today.
People have to love intelligently. That means they have to let their head lead their heart.
Normally, you treat your problems with your emotions. We teach you how to deal with your problems like you deal with them at work.
And now that you're engaged, you heard everything like in a different way, right? Yeah, I mean, like it's a must now.
We're looking to apply that now, not only in our relationship, but also as individuals as well.
I really want to say thank you so much for putting this entire event together to move an entire generation forward to the next level. Thank you.
Whoever's not here, they've missed out. I can tell already they've missed out.
We are hoping to start a journey, that this will not be the end, but the beginning of a new way of thinking for people.
When we were driving here to the Wembley Arena, we looked at the Wembley Stadium and we just thought, well, maybe next year that's where we're going to be.
Now you just saw their exclusive footage of the Love School that happened at the Wembley Arena with 11,000 people just a few days ago, and we were invited to be there, and it was a pleasure. What was it, the one thing that struck you the most about what was said there?
So many. Even I, wrote a little list for myself. But the one that marked me the most is something that people usually tend to think, don't even tend to think about that, which is, in order for you to love the other person the way you should, for things to work, you have to love yourself first.
Right.
That for me was amazing, because you hear things in a different way that means the same, but the way she explained it is like, it's like you live in the other person's shadow. You have no personality. You have no, what do you like? I don't know. What's your hobby? Oh, I don't have. Whatever he does, I like to do. Or, you need to love yourself, enjoy who you are, know yourself, be a happy person, and then you will be fully equipped to have a perfect, not perfect, but a successful relationship.
And the other thing that's very important that we learned is that there isn't a perfect partner, right? You can help your partner to become better. You can't change him. That's another thing we've learned.
There's no such thing as Mr. Perfect, isn't it?
And we've also learned that you can't change anyone. But we've learned that you can help the person to get better, to improve by not changing him, but motivating him.
He even said something funny when he was talking about that. There is Mr. Almost Perfect.
Right.
And the way they explained it, it was so humorous.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of fun. I mean, it's the truth, isn't it?
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense.
And it makes you think, if there is one thing that teaches you, is that, you know, you can't put your partner under pressure because you expect him or her to be perfect, because that's never going to happen. In fact, if you look at yourself, you'll see that you have so many imperfections, right? And the time will be a lot better well spent if you fight to become a better person, to change yourself. And that actually drives the other person to change, right? If you try to become better at what you do, at who you are, that will make the other person want to become better as well.
Yes, and also, you will never be able to change the person. We learned that as well. You will
Trust
never.
me, in the beginning we try to change each other.
But and sometimes he still tries.
It doesn't work.
With no success. Maybe a little bit, but not 100%. And I tell you what happens when you can't change the person. Because you think that you can, but because you don't succeed, you are putting a strain on your relationship. You are stressing the other person out because she thinks she's not good enough for you, and you will also end up frustrated because it's like, oh, she's not good for me. I mean, I don't know, it's not working. It is working. It's just that you married someone who is not your twin. Even twins have different personalities, isn't
Actually,
it? So it was really.
It's better to say you didn't marry yourself, right?
Oh, there you go.
The only person you maybe could not argue with would be yourself, and that's never going to happen. So the one thing that is important that I personally have learned from this event is that, you know, love is an intelligent thing. It's not a matter of emotion. It's not a matter of how strongly you feel about someone or about something. It's about understanding that relationship on an intelligent level. And if you think about it, everything you do in life has to do with intelligence, right? When you choose a career path, you do that in an intelligent way. You think, hold on, what's going to bring me the most reward? What am I passionate about at the same time? When you buy a house, you do that in an intelligent way. You choose the best place to raise a family, the most cost-effective area, perhaps. So why wouldn't we use intelligence for our love life? And that's certainly something that I have learned, we have learned together, and that it's important for you to learn as well. Now, on the second half of this show today, we have a guest here, Bentley, who he's been in a long-distance relationship for about a year. And a lot of people ask us, look, do long-distance relationships work? Can you make it work? What is the answer, yes or no? From speaking to him before, I came to a conclusion. The answer would not so much be, can it work, is there a clear-cut answer? Perhaps there isn't. You're going to hear from him what his point of view is, okay? We're going to go into a short break. When we come back, we'll have Bentley. He's sitting with us talking about his experience in a long-distance relationship. Perhaps it's going to help you as well. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Love Talk, and as promised, I have Bentley here in the studio with me. And we're going to be talking, as I said, we're going to be talking about long-distance relationships. And a lot of people are looking for clear-cut answers. Does it work? Doesn't it work? And I have Bentley here. Good evening. How are you?
Hi,
good. When I was talking to you earlier, you said from your personal point of view, it's not as clear-cut as people want it to be. What's your experience with a long-distance relationship?
Well, long-distance relationships are definitely a test of your commitment and your willpower and the energy and effort that you want to put into something which is not directly in your face. A long-distance relationship can become a bit like a virtual thing, especially because you're on Skype or internet every day speaking. That's good if you can speak every day, because you actually do get used to speaking to someone.
Right.
And it actually does become just like seeing them to a certain extent. You get used to their company and you want to speak to them again, but with them being on a screen, it's not like reality, and there's a certain virtual element to it which is tests you incredibly.
It used to be that long distance relationships, it wasn't Skype, there was no Skype, internet, it used to be all by letters, right?
Not long ago.
Not long ago. I remember when we dated, there was the letter element, and you got quite excited because you're going to get a letter in a few days. But nowadays, even with the added benefit of having the internet, do you feel that helps or it hinders?
I think it's made the world really small because, you know, only the other day someone just went away and emigrated, and it's just, see you on Facebook. So, you know, it's kind of like...
He's still really, there, isn't it? The person is still around.
Because you do see what they're up to every day, and it's very much like my relationship. It's very much alive on the internet and on Skype.
Because for those
Sounds actually fun, isn't it?
Yeah, for those who don't know you are at the moment in a long distance relationship. It's been going on for how long?
About just under a year, since November.
Okay, now how would you say that is going? How would you put, if there was a health check for that relationship, how would it be right now?
A health check for that relationship, unfortunately, I'd say it was probably about 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
When she left to Japan, what was the health check then?
Well, she actually did change. I met her in November, and she left in sort of early February, and so she changed her flight 3 times.
Right.
It's very good, but now as I look back, I'm wondering, did I get involved? See, you might find yourself in a long-distance relationship, however much you don't like them, you might find yourself in one because of works and commitments that people have all over the place. But looking back now, I maybe got involved because I felt maybe there was not so much a commitment involved, you know, and when someone's moving away, you think, oh, well, let's just live for now, and then they go away, and then suddenly you realise you're involved with someone who's living very far away. And she did visit me in June, which was very nice, that was really good. But for me, I find the relationship comes alive when we're together and here, but it just goes back down to this 5, 6 out of 10 level when we're apart, because you kind of have to be distanced to deal with a long-term relationship. That's what I find. But time will tell if this really is a proper love relationship. And
yeah, definitely time will show, because...
Definitely.
So, because that's the thing, right? We, like we said earlier, some people say, look, I want you to tell me, does a long-distance relationship work or not? And at the moment, from what you're saying, you don't know yet.
I don't know. A long-distance relationship could work for some people. I would say as long as there's a moment or an objective when one person is going to move to the other person's place, or you both move somewhere. If you've got that in your vision, then it's fine. Otherwise, it just stays a long-distance thing. But some people may be happy with that.
Wow.
Just visiting, that might be enough for them.
That's quite strange, isn't it?
Well, it's different horses for courses. You know, people have got different types of
And how
living.
does she feel about it? I know she's not here, but does she say,
well,
oh my
in this
God,
relationship,
I miss you?
she's very much into living in London. So when she came here, I'd met her at the end of a 4-month spell. So she was very much wanting to come into London, and I think she will, disregarding whether or not the relationship will continue. She will come to England. So it's a bit easier for me, because I admit I haven't been there.
Right. But the thing is that, you know, what we're talking about here then is a time factor, because if a long distance relationship is for a certain period of time, then you're saying that there is a chance it could work. If it's like an indefinite amount of time, you don't know when you're going to see the person, when they're coming back, then it's a bigger problem.
Yeah, the relationship will just get tested. The longer you've got to not see each other, the weaker it can become. But I'm not saying that for everyone. This is just my case.
For example, I'm sorry to interrupt you, because I'm a bit intrigued. When do you think then it's time for you to reevaluate and say, okay, this is not going anywhere, or maybe it's worth waiting? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think you'll know in your heart if you can summon up enthusiasm, or when you're making these Skype calls and think, is this really worth it? Is this, for me, I haven't kind of let go, because I know that she's coming back, and then we will have a chance to actually sort of, you know, be together and sort of work things out. But for people who have just got a long a time into the future before they next meet, it can be tough. But you know, love doesn't run easily, does it? It can be really tested to the max, and I think it all depends on that time being together.
What about things like, for example, holding hands and having dinner together and all these things? Do you miss that?
None of which you can do on Skype.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can have dinner together. She has dinner there in Japan, and
with
you here with the computer on, and it's not the same though.
And you can do all sorts of other things as well on Skype, but it's not.
It's not quite the same, is it?
You know, because the virtual world is developing, isn't it? And suddenly you find yourself in a virtual relationship, having to simulate reality on a TV, a computer screen. It's actually not for me.
Yeah. And actually, what you're saying there is that maybe long-distance relationships have become virtual relationships, because that's what it ends up being, right?
Yeah, they're for the commitment phobe, they're perfect. Long-distance relationships.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, because you just give measured sort of commitment. But I think if you've got that little spark of like, no, this is the one, then I think you can get through it, providing there is a time when you're going to meet within a few months.
I think so too, you know.
A long-term plan.
Yeah. So that seems to be the main point, right? That it seems like no long-distance relationship will survive if it is permanently long distance. At some point, something's got to give. You have to come together and build a life together, right?
I would say so, but some people may be happy with a permanently long distance relationship. I do know of a girl who's been going out with a guy in Italy. She lives here, and that's been going on for about 7 years, and all they've ever done is visit.
Right.
So it seems to fit their life.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know them. I personally would be very unhappy with that. From what you're saying, you would also at some point become unhappy because you want someone there with you.
Yes, I don't think it's ultimately fulfilling just to be visiting occasionally. But, you know, as I say, some people might be happy with that.
Yeah, maybe you have the same goals, you have lots of things in common, or maybe not, but you like each other really a lot, so you think it's worth waiting for the person.
And that person has been going to Italy for 7 years, so Italy's
okay, I'm not talking about 7 years.
It's not like Japan.
Japan is a little bit further away, right?
It takes much more commitment and money.
What about things like, for example, because the person's not there, do you feel like temptations are more difficult to resist because the person's not there?
Yeah, I actually haven't, but I've definitely got sort of friends and, you know, sort of like 1 or 2 people who you think, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind going out with it. There's temptations all the time, yes.
I mean, temptations are there whether the person is with you or not. But the thing is that if someone is with you and you're enjoying that person's company and that person's there every day, then of course it's a lot less likely that you will entertain any thoughts, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And also the important fact about long-distance relationships is when you're together, it becomes a bit like a fantastical experience. It's a bit like a fantasy. You're creating this sort of like, well, we've got to have a great time while we're here. We'll do this. And it's actually not like reality. So
I see what you mean.
You know, but luckily, Mika, when she came across to Japan, she just said, oh, no, I'm just happy just doing normal things. And so it didn't put any pressure on me to say, oh, we'll go to theatre then, we'll do this, and cram it all into 8 days.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, I'll say for my own relationship, the things that you cherish and that you remember the most are not really those things you do, like going to this great big event and attractions. It's more the little thing that you do together.
It really is, yeah, just to go into the outdoor market on a Saturday morning, or just going to the cafe.
Having breakfast together.
Yes.
So these are the things that you miss.
I suppose I do. Yeah.
So, what would your advice be for someone who's in a long distance relationship, and the person says, "Listen, I don't know if this is going to work." And for you, it's also something new because you know, a year, just under a year, is not that much of a long-term relationship.
It's not like 7 years.
What would your advice be? Does it work? What would you tell them that they could do?
Well, first get a very good internet connection.
Okay.
Make sure you've got Skype, and a good computer. But just be natural and normal. Understand that they're operating in a different time zone. Okay. So be aware that you might be waking up in the morning and they're just like, just tired. To be kind of give allowances to that. But also try and build in a plan where, you know, who's going to visit, because it gives the relationship energy if one of them is going to make a visit, and it's something to look forward to, and don't over dramatize things when they do come or when you are together. Just try to be as normal as possible, And share yourself on computer, and it's okay for me. As soon as a camera's on, you know, I'm sort of go into showbiz mode, which can also not be a good thing, but it's hard for people to actually sometimes be themselves on a webcam.
Yeah.
You know? I see what you mean. Like they get all dressed up and they behave funny.
So the truth is that you know, there's the piece of advice that you just give now, but the truth is that it's very difficult to make that go on for years and make that work.
I would say so, yes. I think you've got to have at least, I think the regular visits will be good, but I think you've got to be careful that one of the partners is not straying, because it's easy to maintain a deceitful life if you're having a long distance relationship, because the other person can't know everything. It's very easy to be free in a long distance relationship. But I think some people would be fine with long distance relationships as long as there's an objective, and as long as they're honest, and it's keeping the excitement going. People in these relationships have to work harder to keep the energy and excitement going.
Bentley, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem.
In the program, in the show. And I want to tell you something. I mean, you know, I have my way of understanding relationships and from speaking to a lot of people. And my understanding is that you can make a long distance relationship work as long as it will not be a long distance relationship forever. And that's what it boils down to. And if you are ready to work hard to make the relationship work, and to be honest with the person, like Bentley said, because it's very easy to live a life where the person doesn't know anything about what's happening with you. If you're willing to make that work, to invest, and you know that there is a date, a point where you will be together, you know, permanently, whether that's in 1 year, 2 years, then you have something to look forward to. If that's not going to happen, it's very difficult to make a relationship like that work, and you have to really think if that's going to cause you happiness or perhaps pain in the long run.
Also, if you don't mind, I would say as well that when you're getting to know the person, if you see that the person doesn't have the same goals, you know, you like the person, she's a nice person, you know, you enjoy being together, but if you have different goals in life, I don't believe you should waste your time or waste the other person's time, and rather be sincere and straight to the point and say, I like you very much, but I don't think it's going to work out.
Ultimately it comes down to sincerity between both of you and having a goal to be together at some point permanently. Until then, if there is a long distance, you can work something out and maybe make that work, but there has to be a cutoff point. Okay, that has been the show today. It's a pleasure to be here with you and for you to see what happened at the Love School over the past few days, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a wonderful night.